The purpose of this video is to show you how to use Excel to calculate mean, median, and mode. So I'll open a fresh Excel sheet and I'll collect some data from my class of their heights in centimeters. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many you have, the same process will apply. And make sure we just put numbers in. If we put something like centimeters in, it won't calculate any of the statistics for us. So we've got 5 or 10 or 50 scores, whatever. And I'm trying to find the mean, the median, mode, and we can also find the range of the data if we want. Okay, so to find the mean, whenever I want Excel to do a calculation, it always starts with equals. For mean, I'm after just the average. So if I type average and open the brackets, I can get my mouse and highlight the numbers that I want to find the mean of. Okay, close the bracket and press enter. So you can just type this whole thing in as well if you want, and just put a colon between the first cell and the last cell of the data that you have. It'll calculate the mean for me. I can do the same thing for the median. So okay, type equals, I want the median of all these scores. Close bracket, press enter. And the mode, I think it's just mode, yeah. So the mode of these scores, close bracket. And if it comes up with NA, that means that there's no mode, or possibly bimodal. So in this scenario, the student would have to calculate the mode manually, just looking through the data. However, if I did have a mode, so I change this one to 153, it should come up as the mode and see that the mean and median have changed automatically. Finding the range, there's 2 different ways we could go about doing that. I'm not sure if the students even need this for the assignment, they probably don't. So there's no formula for range, unfortunately. So I'll just take the maximum of all of these scores and subtract the minimum of the same set of scores. Okay, maximum minus minimum, it'll give me the range of the data. You might want to just separate it out, so you've got the max, you've got the min, and then the range. Okay, so in this top one, we'll put the maximum value. And the second one, we'll put the minimum value. And then in the final cell, I can just say, I want you to take this first cell, B13, and take away that second cell, B14, okay, to get the same value. So for the second component where they're making graphs, this might be for their class, and then for Australia, they might have some separate data, so it might have a mean of 165. Okay, so they could go ahead and highlight just this little grid of information and insert one of these charts. Okay, so they can be a bit creative, have a play with some of these graphs as long as it shows some sort of point of view. You'll notice that the scale on the left-hand side of this seems like the people in Australia are heaps taller than the ones in our class, okay, because the scale only goes from 158 through to 166. If I click on this chart on the vertical axis, right click and format axis, depending on their version, a menu like this will come up and we can put the minimum and maximum of that axis. So if I change the minimum to 0 and maybe press tab to get out of there so I can reset, this paints a completely different picture of the data. Okay, so you'll have to play around with it a bit, and students will have all different versions of Excel, but they should be able to manage with that sort of general instruction. Okay, so moving on to collecting the data for Australia. So students can type in the website, or we can send them the website. So go to the Census at School website. So students from all around the world have answered these questions. I want to get some data from it. I'll use the random sampler. Yeah, always agree. So got a few options here. So I want the international one, so I won't change that. The subpopulation, I want to focus just on a particular country. So I don't want any of these ones that aren't Australia. And the student can choose however many students they want. So maximum 1,000. I'll just use 1,000 for fun, and pretty sure you need to put 1,000 in here as well, or it'll still give you data from all around the world. So I've clicked all of that. So I get my sample, it'll look like it's done nothing, but down the bottom it'll give me the option to download the sample. So I'll click on this guy, open it up, and it should give me a whole heap of data to play with. Yep, so here is all of these questions that 1,000 students around Australia have answered about their lives. I think on the website somewhere there'll be the option to read all the questions that they answered if you're interested. So yeah, here's the questions that they answered. But we're really just mainly interested in their height. Okay, but there's all the questions that someone's answered. So up to you, or really up to the student, what they do with this data. They might just grab a whole heap of heights and just analyze it like that. Or some of you more advanced students might want to highlight a few of these columns and filter the data. Okay, so that they might be able to, so that was in sort, just filter. So they might want to just pull out all of the males. So there's all the females. I can just select all the female data, or I could possibly sort them by region if I think region might give me something more misleading. Okay, however creative they want to be. But anyway, we'll get some data somehow. Okay, say I've chosen 1,000 pieces of data. I'll be able to highlight all of these. Yep, all these datas. Yep, so I can copy them. So Control C, or there's like a copy one up here somewhere. Yep, copy. And I can go back to my Excel that I'm playing with, maybe create a new sheet, paste all of those values in, and I can find the mean, median, and mode of all that data. Okay, so yeah, maybe not a good idea to have so much data, but probably aim for like at least 200. So I know that the last score will be A1000, so I'm just going to go on the average from A1 to A1000, and it'll make that range for me already. If I'm not sure if I got it right there, I can go down the bottom, make sure 1,000 is actually my last piece of data, which it is. And if I click inside that first cell, it'll highlight what I've selected. Okay, do the same thing for median. And the same thing for the mode. This will be interesting. A mode of 160, okay, which is really meaningless, but if the two modes that the students compare tells an interesting story, then they can use the modes, even though it's completely inappropriate to do so. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Don't expect any student to actually see this video. Okay, try and do it interactively in class. Yep. Any questions? Let me know. Alright, bye.